Oh, hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, depending on which part of this beautiful country for now that you're in. I'm your host of our news and opinion show, Rebel Roundup, Sheila Gunn Reid, and I'm joined by my best friend, my ally, my amigo, Lise Merle in beautiful Regina, Saskatchewan. Lise, how's it going?
Well, hello, my beloved Sheila Gunn Reid, and hello, Rebel fam. I have had worse days. What a difference 24 hours makes, Sheila Gunn Reid, from going from our 5 stages of grief.
I only hit two of
After
them. I skipped a few.
So did I. I went straight to anger and sort of stayed there for a couple hours. But ooh, did Danielle Smith pull a solid on Mark Carney? She didn't even give that man a 12-hour victory lap before she came out of the gate just absolutely swinging. And we are going to talk all about it on today's program, you guys. Like, I hope you have your seatbelts on because it is going to be a wild ride today. Unpicking
Yeah.
all of this for you guys.
It's also a bad day for Doug Ford because if he has
Well,
aspirations on the prime minister's seat, he doesn't do that without Alberta. It'll just be
yeah.
Mark Carney's country. I mean, it'll be a Carney dynasty. We'll have Mark Carney's transgender kid be the prime minister after him because there's
Yeah.
no conservative party in this country without the West.
Without the
We
West.
do all the
Without the
fundraising.
West.
We are the brain trust of the party. And
All
anyway,
of the good
careful what you
ideas
wish
that
for.
That's right. All of the good ideas that come out of that Conservative Party come from Western Canada, and I just got off the phone with a brilliant friend of mine, I will say, and he's got a lot of concerns about Doug Ford and what's happening, fracture wise within the Conservative movement of Canada, and I hope we can talk about that too.
Yes, we can. And I hope that Jamil Javani becomes the next premier of Ontario. Wouldn't that be delightful?
Oh, that would be a coup that I would. I mean, I would pay money to see that. I'd pay good Saskatchewan dollars to see that. Yep.
Yeah, Buffalo
Yeah.
Bucks, we'll call them
Oh,
one day,
in
right?
whatever. Yes, we will. Yeah, Buffalo Bucks. That's exactly right. That's going to
Okay.
go in our $100 bill. Yep.
Okay. I do hope that we have Ralph Klein on the money here. Anyways, I'm scheming. My vision board of
Oh, don't.
conservative cabinet, it has to be, I have to change my vision board and start adding my new ideas like Ralph Klein on the $100 bill.
Like
Or it
my
should be,
fan. Yeah.
sorry, it should be a $200 bill because that's the Ralph bucks that he gave us when he paid down the debt and then we were in surplus and he gave us all $200. The $200 bill must have
We
Ralph
are
Klein
going
on it.
we are going to have a $200 bill. But I will say 99% of my internal fantasies right now have to do with like developing the policy and figuring out what we're going to be called and who's going to sing, who's going to write our anthem. I vote for Coulter Wall. Okay, Coulter Wall should get on that right away, writing our anthem. Maybe we'll do like a Coulter Wall / Brett Kissel collab on our
Yes. Okay,
new
that's perfect.
national anthem, right? Like it'll be very, very, it'll just be really poignant and
Do you know
lovely.
what?
And
If the two of them work together, it's very emblematic of how we need to come back together.
oh,
Anyways,
Saskatchewan and Alberta, yeah. Oh, like we're getting into it, but just
we'll get
to
into it.
say,
This is
yeah.
all of you right now. This is you're privy to our phone calls now, Lisa and I. But I'll tell everybody what we're doing. I feel like you're just hostage to a phone call between Lisa and I now. This is Rebel Roundup, wherein we talk about the news of the day. As you can tell, obviously, completely unscripted. But we just don't talk about it. We want to talk to you. So if you want to support the work that we do out of the goodness of your heart, unlike what Mark Carney makes you do with the failing, contaminated, colonized mainstream media, if you are watching us on YouTube, you can leave something called a super chat. That's their paid chat over there. Or after the fact, you can leave super thanks. That's their paid comment. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, it's mandatory for us to read it. If it's under that, we'll do our very, very best, but it's how you support us here. And if you are watching us on the excellent free speech platform of Rumble, they have a paid chat there called a Rumble Rant, and the same rules apply. And it's a great way for you to support us while we give you your say, which is something that you'll only get here. Excuse me, I'm fighting a cold. We alluded to this, but something big happened in Alberta yesterday. Danielle Smith, who I believe is a federalist, has said that in not so many words, not with her mouth, but with her actions, basically said, I'm not going to stand in the way of this, I was going to say percolating separatist movement in the West, but it's more of a boiling volcano than it is just a slight bubble.
Yes.
All right. I broke it down yesterday, and I did get something wrong in this thread. Constitutional lawyer Keith Wilson corrects me. My YouTube thread, my
X thread.
Mm-hmm. I got the embargoed documents while I was on the live stream yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to look at them until after, and I was like, holy moly, things just got real in Alberta.
Did they ever?
Alberta just made a referendum on separation realistic, and they did it the day after Mark Carney became prime minister. Here's what you need to know. Yesterday, Mark Carney won a Liberal minority thanks to Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic Canada, and I should say also to the implosion of the NDP like a dying star. Today, Alberta introduced a bill that quietly makes it possible to hold a referendum on leaving Canada. Coincidence? Definitely not a chance. This has been in the works, I guess, since the writing was on the wall. In the UCP's new Election Statutes Amendment Act is a change to the Citizen Initiative Act, a law that allows regular people to propose referendums, even on constitutional issues like separation. Until now, it was a joke. Under Jason Kenney, the rules required signatures from 20% of all eligible voters in just 90 days. That's over 600,000 names.
Nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Impossible
for any movement.
Precisely. It was built to fail. Danielle Smith just changed that. Now you only need 10% of the people who voted in the last election. So not eligible voters. People who voted in the last election.
Ooh.
Which is why my number here is wrong. I was all excited. I was doing math on the fly. Constitutional lawyer Keith Wilson corrects me and says it's closer to 170,000 and not 208,000 signatures, which is totally doable. So it's not just a symbolic, here's your direct democracy that you can never achieve law anymore. She made it real. It's enough so that you won't get tied up in nuisance referendums, but it is a surmountable goal now.
Incredible.
So, let that sink in. As the Laurentian elites cheer Carney's coronation, Alberta just unlocked a legal path to break away from Ottawa. This isn't saber-rattling, it's legislation. And the bill includes a bunch of other good things, too. It bans vote tabulators, tightens ID rules, allows special ballots for anyone, because we saw a lot of problems with oil and gas workers in BC not getting special ballots.
Right, working way up north in camps and
Yeah,
not being able to vote at all. Yeah, so
yeah, and brings back corporate and union donations. So companies that are hit with bad government policy, they really didn't have a voice because corporations are really just people, right?
right.
And to make it fair, they brought back in union donations, which should excite the NDP, but it's with disclosure, so you know where the funds are coming from. So
Hmm.
to make it fair, it's not just rigging the system for conservatives. But the referendum clause is a real change. Albertans have been watching the Liberals hijack our resources, demonize our industries, ignore our votes, and attack our culture of freedom and self-reliance. Now they've been handed a tool to fight back, not with protests, not with hashtags, but with a referendum. And for the first time in Alberta history, this isn't a fantasy. It's a form, it's a timeline, and it's a number, which is now actually 170,000. Now, this change, as I said, doesn't guarantee Alberta's exit, but it opens the door to the gate. And now the question is, who's ready to walk through it and who will follow after Saskatchewan, who actually are more separatist than us here in Alberta with a little bit less fanfare, as you tend to do things over there.
That's right. So yesterday I tweeted, who else thinks Saskatchewan needs to pass identical legislation like tomorrow? And I tagged Premier Scott Moe just so he gets a feeling for what the
Oh,
people
I'm
of
sure he
Saskatchewan
knows.
are thinking. It's incredible. Well, I think we're gonna take a look at some of the things that Scott Moe said in a press conference yesterday, and it sounds as though he's kind of going to give the Mark Carney government a chance and a little bit of leeway. Whereas I think the sentiment of the people of Saskatchewan are, we're done. A great many Saskies are looking at what the Eastern elites just did to us in this last federal election. We've had 120 years of abuse by the federal government, and we want control of our own prosperity and our own future. The buddy that I just got off the phone with, the brilliant one, said, nostalgia isn't enough to keep us as part of Confederation. Nostalgia is not enough. We need action. We need it right now. And I did a little bit of research, Sheila Gunn Reid, and this is what we need. This is what we need for Saskatchewan. And don't you know that I just closed the screen that I needed? Hang on, I'll pull it back up. Okay. Saskatchewan citizens can initiate a referendum by submitting a petition to the chief electoral officer. The petition must be signed by at least 15% of the total number of electors in Saskatchewan, which equates to approximately 131,000 signatures based on recent estimates. So it's a tiny bit.
They're rigging it. Yeah, they're rigging it on you guys.
The bar is a little bit, which is why we need to encourage Premier Scott Moe and the government of Saskatchewan to lower that bar, just like Danielle Smith did. Because if we lowered it to 10% of all voters in the last election, this would be absolutely doable for the people of Saskatchewan. So you take the population of Moose Jaw, you take the population of Yorkton, Estevan, and Weyburn, and we would be able to ask a question that goes something like, do you want to remain part of the country of Canada, or do you want to be prosperous and survive? So yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
here he goes. Here's our Scott Moe.
Well, and this isn't just about a referendum on separation. These are citizen-led initiatives on anything. Like, do you want to adopt your own provincial anthem? Do you want to change the provincial colors? Do you want to do a different flag? If there's enough citizen-led momentum, they can get this done on any issue. And I think it is good that Danielle Smith lowered the bar for Albertans to be able to hold her government accountable on any issue. It makes the government closer to the people, which is what you want.
Exactly that, because referendums are binding by the if the people of Alberta or Saskatchewan or both take their question to a referendum and the people decide, the government is bound by the decision of the people to follow through on the question that was asked. So it is an incredible tool that is not often used by the people of Western Canada, but I think that we are going to see that change. I think that we are going to see that change and really, really fast. So it's so exciting.
And we can use it on recall. We can use it on recall in Alberta. Also, we have this built into law. It's the Taxpayer Protection Act. If the government wants to raise our taxes, bring in a sales tax, they have to go to referendum to us for our approval. which means they're never going to do it. It's
Right.
lovely because
Right.
who would agree to that? Who in their right mind would agree to that except Toronto boomers who vote
Yeah.
Mark Carney?
Yeah, exactly
We've
that.
got, pardon my sniffling, it must be disgusting, but we have Premier Smith announcing changes to Alberta's elections to make them more transparent following Mark Carney's election victory. So this is her announcing the changes to the Citizen Initiative Act.
Okay.
I'm pleased to be here with Mickey Amory, Alberta's Minister of Justice, to announce changes to the way our elections work in the province. I believe democracy thrives when people trust the process. They need to know that they can take part in a simple and easily accessible process. They need to be confident in and to trust the election results. And they need to know where financial support for candidates and parties comes from. So we are introducing Bill 54, which is the Election Statutes Amendment Act, to make elections at every level in Alberta more transparent and democratic. If passed, the use of electronic tabulators and other automated voting machines would be eliminated, requiring all ballots to be counted by hand to protect election integrity. The unofficial vote counts will be required to be complete within 12 hours of polls closing to provide timely, reliable results, ensuring Albertans receive fast and accurate election results. The practice of vouching at voting stations, where a voter without identification could simply have their identity vouched for and verified by another eligible voter, will end. Our government has made a commitment to restore public confidence in identification and voter eligibility verification processes through the elimination of vouching. We are expanding access to special ballots to improve voting accessibility and to protect voter privacy. These changes would allow any voter to request a special ballot without needing to provide a reason, and allow special ballots to be sent overseas or to remote locations earlier. And we're protecting integrity by requiring voters to personally request their special ballot. Voters will also be required to vote in their constituency of residence or by special ballot. These changes will ensure that all Albertans have ample opportunity to have their say at election time, and that Alberta's elections are open, secure, and accessible. We are expanding opportunities for Albertans to be involved in direct democracy by making changes to the threshold needed for successful citizens' initiatives. The signature collection time for citizens' initiatives will be extended from 90 days to 120 days. We are also improving the process by setting the threshold to be 10% of the number of eligible voters who participated in the last general election, as opposed to being either 10 or 20% of total registered voters. Additional amendments will update rules to make it easier for Albertans to hold their elected officials accountable through MLA recall. These changes would extend the recall signature collection time from 60 days to 90 days and lower the signature threshold to be 60% of the total number of electors who voted in the electoral district in the most recent election, as opposed to 40% of the total number of electors in the riding. Recall legislation and citizens' initiatives give Albertans more ways to be directly involved in democracy and to have their say on issues that matter to them. There are many more changes in the proposed bill, and Minister Mickey Amory will provide more details about exactly what they cover. But our intent is clear. Democracy is the foundation of our freedoms and the source of legitimacy for governments at every level. It must be protected, strengthened, and defended, and that's exactly what we are doing. We want to make it simple as possible for every Albertan to express their political views and safeguard the system that enables them to do it. These changes build on the integrity, trust, and openness that have always been at the heart of democracy and keep Alberta strong and free.
Well, can't say it much better than that, can you, Sheila Gunn-Reid?
Your move, Scott Moe. I mean, this is how you give Albertans an outlet for their frustration with a rigged system of confederation without declaring yourself some sort of separatist. And I don't say that with disdain. If you are a premier of a province in Canada, by default, you are a federalist. You are working within the Confederation. So it would be politically difficult for Danielle Smith to say that she's a separatist, but she realizes that this is a thing a lot of Albertans care about. Just get out of their way.
But I would argue that Quebec just elected 21 MPs as part of a separatist party.
Sure.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And being a separatist being a separatist does not make you a monster in this world.
No,
If Quebec
and
can do it, what's good for them is good for us. And this is part of the conversation that we get to have now as Westerners.
right.
This is no longer, a protected umbrella that only Quebec gets to live under because they are so precious and special and a unique culture. I would argue that Westerners are a unique culture.
100%. We saw
right?
that in the election. We saw
Yes,
that in
like,
the election.
right?
You could
A sea of
literally
blue,
draw a
blue across the
line.
West.
You could draw a
Yep.
line where it changes.
Yeah.
And you could draw a line where it changes. You can draw a line where it changes. Then you look in the history books and then you say, oh, that's when those people came here for that reason. Like
Yes.
it literally comports with Canada's history, why we are a separate and distinct culture in the West. But yeah, this idea that we don't get to talk about these issues out here, that people who are separatists get told to shut up. Like, look, you could literally chart the wave of migration for the reason that it came here by voting, by the way we vote.
And I just want to say,
that all the time.
That big red block over Saskatchewan, that's one riding. That is one riding. That entire northern
Buckley
half of the
Boulanger.
province. There he is, good old Buckley Boulanger, popping up again like a bad weed, made us red in the top half.
He's a former NDPer who just cut out the middleman and
raging socialist.
For the Liberals.
Just jump ship to the Liberals. No, but what Danielle Smith did there is she's taking, I think that we've all thought to ourselves at one point or another, man, there is a break in the feedback loop between the people of the province and the government of the province, where the people of the province can scream until they're blue in the face and the government just doesn't seem to hear them. You know what I mean? They just sort of put their earmuffs on and la-di-da. What Danielle Smith is saying is we are going to make it easier for the people of Alberta to talk to us, to tell us what they want. And as good governors of the province of Alberta, we are obligated to listen to them. We are obligating ourselves to listen to them. And that is an amazing thing that she just did. As a matter of fact, I think that is the gold standard of what premiers should sound like in cases like this. They should always be on side of what the wants of the people of the province are.
Right.
Like that is the only appropriate response. It isn't up to, the people tell the government what they want, and it is up to the government to act. The government works for the people, not the other way around. And in many cases, I feel like governments have got this completely upside down. So kudos to her for hitting the nail right on the head and doing the people of Alberta a real solid and showing our Premier Scott Moe exactly what he must be saying in this moment. Right? She's like modeling the behavior. Yeah, modeling the behavior.
Just take it and do it. It's like how we stole your idea for having our own chief firearms officer. Like just you steal this one back.
Just like that. Yeah.
But yeah, you are right that Westerners are more separatist than Quebecers right now, and yet it's treated as completely culturally normal in Quebec. Not only do they have a provincial separatist party in the PQ, but they also have the BQ, the Bloc Québécois, as a federal party, and they are included in the debates. They're included in the House of Commons. It's part of the culture there. They have separatist musicians and separatist TV shows and separatist artists. It's part of everything there. In Alberta, a lot of people feel this way, but if you listen to the likes of the boring potato panels on the CBC, they're fringe radicals. And I will tell you just by the numbers, more people care about separatism in Alberta. And I don't know what that looks like. Is it a more autonomy within Confederation? Is it we're out of here, we're our own place, or are we joining the United States? I don't know what that means, and that's for the people of Alberta to decide.
Those are all questions to be answered a little bit later. But for right now, the question is, go ahead.
And I was going to say, there are more people who care deeply about separatism or sovereignty than vote for the NDP or the Liberals in Alberta. I think it would be the second largest, if not the largest, political party, if there were a political party.
That's that's an incredible statistic right there. And it does just go to show you that those of us in the West that believe that we should be in control of our own fortunes are rising up in this moment. After being delivered another liberal government where we will not be allowed to prosper, where we will not be allowed to be in control of our own natural resources or industries or money makers or even social policy in the country, this is looking like a better and better deal for us. It's incredible what's happening in the West right now. It's just a fascinating time to watch this all unfold.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the editorial standpoint at Rebel News is these people will not be told to shut up, and they will not be illegitimized. And this will be a place of fair discussion for everybody involved for their own future.
Let's discuss it, people. Let's discuss it. Let's get talking about this.
Just like everybody else in this province gets to do, or in this country gets to do. We will talk about our own future too.
One of the neat little sort of asides from the tweet I put out that retweeted your tweet about Alberta, or post I should say, on X. They're not called tweets anymore, but is the ratio of retweets to likes on my post. So a perfect ratio is about 1/4. Like if you have 25 reposts, you should have about 100 likes. You know what I mean? Like that is a perfect ratio. You have hit the nail on the head. And what I'm seeing here is that it is slightly more likes than there are reposts. So this tells us that there is support for this initiative, but people aren't real comfortable because likes are anonymous. You can't see who's liked a post, right? So you can go and slam your support on something, but not really have everybody know that you've done it. This tells me that the people of Saskatchewan, okay, are quietly supporting this. Like in the background, they're looking at this going, yep, we want to do what Alberta's doing. We want to go with Alberta. And the comments are just overwhelmingly supportive.
Yeah, I've got Toronto people saying, just go then. I'm like, careful what you wish for, Granny.
Ooh, don't threaten us. Do the line, don't threaten us with a good time.
Exactly.
But this is really telling for Saskatchewan, because before the poll that came out just last week that said we had like 34% support for this sort of initiative, it was always just sort of assumed that Quebec had the most support for separation, then Alberta, then Saskatchewan. Well, it turned out, our little Saskies, we might be quiet, okay? We might be the quiet ones, but don't think that there isn't a boiling river of rage underneath.
Yeah.
And just because we've been quiet up until this point doesn't mean we're going to stay quiet.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to have a lot of conversations with the people of Saskatchewan on these issues. Like it's actually incredible. It makes me so proud to be a Sasky. It makes me so proud.
You guys are frequently more conservative than us. You just do it with a lot less wiener wiggling. Moreover, to your point, on the likes and reposts, my post is at explaining it, 4,000 plus reposts and like 24,000 likes, 2,000 bookmarks on it. That's a lot of people who are.
She got 2.3 million views on that baby. So don't say that this isn't. Eastern Canadians should be very, very nervous right now. They're not. They're
not.
They're arrogant. They're being arrogant and still clinging.
Again, if you're not an arrogant Easterner, don't send me emails. We're not talking about you.
If you're a normal Easterner,
you.
We love you. Like, move west. Now would be the time to liquidate your assets out east and move west, because we are the future, and you're gonna wanna be part of our big adventure, whatever that adventure looks like. But there is a great deal of support for these ideas right now, and Eastern Canadians should have seen the writing on the wall, but didn't. Well, that's because so many of them still watch the CBC.
And you know what? It shows, even that this is a day later, just how culturally different we are. We're not languishing in sanguine sorrow and morose. Albertans are saying, okay, we tried it your way. All right, now we tried it your way 3 times. Now we're going to do it our way. So this is the Westerner way. You take
Sheila.
lemons and make them into lemonade.
I'd even take that one further. The people of Saskatchewan are the people of Saskatchewan are like, we have done this for 120 years, and you are
Yes.
telling us that you're like 120 years of toxic abuse from a bad boyfriend down east, and
Yeah.
and we are under the illusion that because you picked a new guy that's same as the old guy with the same team as the old guy is going to treat
Right.
us any better. I mean,
Yeah.
this is going to come up in the Scott Moe piece that we have coming up. But basically, it's like Scott Moe is calling Mark Carney to come to Saskatchewan for a meeting. I was like, if he brings chocolates and flowers and tells us that he's going to be nice, so help
Right.
me God. Like,
Maybe
so
it won't
help.
happen again.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. We know it's going to happen again, though. Like, we can't be dumb. I mean, history repeats, and the Liberals have always been bad to
And
us.
here's
So,
the thing. Wherever you fall on this issue, something's got to change. The status quo
yeah.
is not working. We'll get to this in a second. I realize we've been on for a half an hour and we've only talked about this one issue. Premier Smith, she was asked about the Liberal Party cabinet and what it means for Alberta. Let's go to that.
Yeah.
How optimistic are you about the relationship with the new Prime Minister? Are you feeling hopeful that this could be a new relationship between Alberta and Ottawa?
Well, very much depends. I mean, we had a cabinet that he went into the election with that was exactly the same as the cabinet that subjected Alberta to 10 years of economic devastation. So whether or not he, as a leader, is going to be able to change course remains to be seen. He's given some undertakings, but he said different things in different forms to different people in different parts of the country. So I don't know the answer yet. I made it very clear what I think he needs to do to reset the relationship with Alberta. I think what we put on the table is very reasonable and very much in sync with the idea of being an energy superpower and finding new markets. And I guess the ball will be in his court to see how he responds to that.
How?
I think we know how he's going to respond to it. Spend more money, block our projects, and then extract what little bit of wealth we have left from us, and then expect a thank you when he sends us back a pittance.
Yeah. The ball is in his court, but I think what we're increasingly hearing the people of Western Canada say is we're taking our ball. We're taking our ball and we're going home. The ball is no longer in your court. This is what the people are saying they want. And but I can't really falter for saying, well, we'll give the new guy a chance, but a very, very limited chance. And if he doesn't conform and if he doesn't fall in line, well, then we're going to have something to say about that. And again, when we talk about the Scott Moe piece, I think there has to be some real hard and fast timelines on the Liberal government to conform to the wants and needs of the people of Western Canada, or he's going to have a unity crisis on his hands before the end of summer.
Yeah. I mean, we've watched the 3 federal parties, 4 if you count the BQ, but they've always been a regional party. We've watched the 4 parties now turn into regional parties. All three of the ones that are outside of Quebec are all regional parties now.
Isn't that incredible? Yeah. Yeah. If we pull up that map again, you can see it color coded. You can see a color coded regional
But it's not
map.
in my head. Yeah. We've got another video from Premier Smith. She's asked, like, is separation on the table for the United Conservative Party? And she responds, not by me, which is the right answer. It will be led by the people. So let's listen to that.
We're still open to Alberta separating. I feel that question wasn't directly answered.
Well, not by me. I believe in Alberta's sovereignty within a united Canada. However, there is a citizen-initiated referenda process that if citizens want to put a question on a ballot and get enough of their fellow citizens to sign that petition, then those questions will be put forward. Again, I don't want to prejudge what a question might be, but not by our government.
Yeah. Look at those confused media. Just totally can't get their heads around the fact that she's like, no, this is what the people will want. The people get to choose, and the media is just all flabbergasted about it.
How dare you give them that much power? Don't you know that they're peons? Don't you know that they don't know what's best for them? You must rule from on high. I mean, this would just be this would just be such a shock to their system. But that's the only appropriate answer for a premier of a province in Canada. It is up to the people to decide what is best for them in every regard. In every
Yeah.
regard, from little tiny, you know, minuscule things to the big, huge questions that are going to pave the path towards whatever the future may look like. It is up to the people. It always has been. It's really funny that we've sort of forgotten that, or
Right.
or we've been led to believe that that's not the
Yeah.
truth. I think that's
Yeah.
more accurate.
It should not be that we elect people every 4 years who continue to do things to us instead of with us,
Right?
with our permission.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
we got another one.
Government should be government should be scared a little bit of the people that they govern. They should be
Right.
scared
That's
of
how
them.
it's supposed
Like
to
if
work.
that's exactly how it's supposed to work. And respect the people that they govern, first and foremost. And that's, I think, what comes through in Danielle Smith's piece there, is that she very much respects the opinions of the people of Alberta first. And that's
Right.
what it should sound like. Yeah, a masterclass on how to deal with these things.
And wouldn't it be great if this so-called liberal prime minister who claims that he's a hometown Edmonton boy, that under him we left? But Danielle
Oh, it
Smith,
would be poetic.
wouldn't
It would be poetry in motion.
Danielle Smith touches on the feelings of Albertans, and I think this is universal across the West and most of the interior of British Columbia about the outcome of the election.
What is your reaction to the fact that the level of frustration among many Albertans has gotten so strong that some people are at least talking about, thinking about, pondering, debating an option such as leaving Canada? Well, what is your reaction to that?
Well, I think Albertans are hurt and betrayed. That's how I think Albertans are feeling. I think Canada as a whole got a sense of that feeling of hurt and betrayal with the way the Americans are treating us right now. But we've been treated that way for the last 10 years. Treated like our interests don't matter, treated like our economic imperatives aren't important, treated like we should be just shut up and just be satisfied with whatever the central government decides to do, regardless of whether it's constitutional or not. I think that's what you were seeing in this last election. And I think Albertans want to share my view that we want to be able to have Alberta sovereignty within a united Canada. But we also would like to see Team Canada be on Team Alberta for once. And that's what, when I say I live in hope that that's going to happen, it hasn't happened for the last 10 years. And so that's part of the reason why I think Albertans are frustrated. I think that they were hoping for a big change and they didn't get it last night. So I'm going to do what I can to work with the current government, as I always have, to find areas of common agreement and to try to address those things that have been causing some of that feeling of betrayal and hurt. And hopefully we'll be able to forge a stronger approach with our fellow premiers and a recognition from the federal government that they've got to honor the Constitution.
God. So
She's just good.
I mean, the way that she hit that right on the head, Albertans are hurt and betrayed, and they got a taste of how the Eastern elites got a taste of how Albertans have felt for the last 10 years with Donald Trump. So you know that the feeling of just, I mean, demoralization, having Donald Trump talk about Eastern Canadians as, you know, the beloved, the cherished 51st state.
As a colony?
You know that sense of fear that struck in the heart of Eastern Canadians. This is what Westerners have been feeling for the last 10 years, if not the last 120. Couldn't have said it any better. God, she is gifted. She is just such a gifted communicator. And again, it goes back to Danielle Smith. really respecting and understanding how the people of Alberta are feeling and representing them on the world stage. It's just incredible. Just incredible.
Now comes the difficult part of moving this whatever this is forward, is that you are going to see separatist leaders pop up all over the place, because this is just a organic angry person movement right now, but there's no leaders, there are no overtures, there's no plan right now. It's just get a referendum, I think is what it is. But the Republican Party of Alberta, which I know exists now,
they're formerly the Buffalo Party of Alberta. They recently rebranded to the Republican Party. Yeah.
And see, I don't know if I'm a Republican. If Alberta were to leave, and I just don't like jettisoning the idea of tradition. I don't know. It just seems anti-conservative to not conserve something. But maybe I'm wrong. Anywho, they announced a new leader. Republican Party of Alberta announces Cameron Davies as its new leader, bringing out a bold, unapologetic vision for a truly strong and free Alberta. And Sarah Negussi said Alberta's future belongs to Albertans, not the Ottawa elite. And a proud Albertan veteran and former oil patch worker, Cameron represents the hardworking spirit of our province. Son of a small business owner and teacher, he's lived the values he now stands to defend: freedom, family, and faith. And he said, today is the birthday of many new separatists in Alberta. It's time we take control, stand for freedom, and strong for conservative values, and build an Alberta where our children can thrive. So it's starting, I guess. Well, I'm sure we'll see more of those.
Yep, nothing wrong with that statement right there. I don't know anything about Cameron Davies or a lot about the Republican
been around
Party
a long time.
Has he?
He goes back to the Wild Rose Party days. Cameron Davies has been around in conservative circles as an organizer, party apparatus. So he's got a long history here.
That's interesting.
So yeah, it's not like he's just a nobody who put his name forward.
Okay. Well, thank you for the introduction. Now Canada knows about Cameron Davies and the Republican Party of Alberta. Wonderful.
Yeah, up until last week, he was a very vocal member of the UCP who very publicly renounced his party membership, and so now this makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Okay, he's been on the leading edge of whatever this becomes. Well, we're gonna see a cast of characters emerge, okay, in Western Canada over these next couple of months, and all of them are gonna have a sort of strategy or a set of ideas that they think is the best one. And like as in life and politics, always, the cream is gonna rise to the top. Okay, we're gonna see the leaders rise to the top of that bunch, and they are going to captivate the population with their messaging. And we're going to see maybe some of the bad actors or some of the more nefarious movers and shakers sort of sink to the bottom. But it'll be real interesting to watch this all go down over the next couple of months. There are definitely people in Western Canada that have been thinking about this and praying about this and working towards this for a great many years already. And they were just waiting for their moment. And so they're going to strike when the iron is hot, as they should. Yep. This is like what Danielle Smith did yesterday is not even once in a lifetime, Sheila. This is once in a multi-generational moment that these people are not going to let pass without taking advantage of. So it's incredible what's happening in Western Canada. It's the best place to be in the world right now.
This isn't just people angry at Justin Trudeau, which was the last time separatists sort of ticked upward. This isn't people angry at Rachel Notley. This isn't people angry at a particular bill. This is people frothing at the mouth with anger over an insurmountable systemic inequity.
Yes.
in
Oh, yes.
Confederation that they feel nobody cares enough about us to fix. And so they'll fix it for themselves, which is actually the Western way. So, again,
I'm writing it down. Insurmountable systemic inequity.
that's what
Okay, everybody. Those are the 3 words we're just going to say those words a lot. Insurmountable systemic inequity. That is a true story. Generations of Westerners have not been allowed to work, produce, to succeed, to prosper under
and
the
to keep
thumb of the
what's
federal
theirs.
government. I mean,
Yeah.
it is. This is a once in a multi-generational timeline that's happening right now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe speaks on Western separation. Let's hear what he has to say. We've got 2 clips on Scott Moe, then we've got to read a bunch of chats. I promise we'll get to them, and then we'll hit an ad break and we'll come back and talk about, well, maybe Doug Ford, we'll see. Liz May and her husband broke out into song, and so maybe we'll close the show on that because yesterday was the last 5 minutes. You know what? We should start dedicating the last 5 minutes,
I think,
to cringe.
We need to have a segment of the show called the Daily Cringe, where we're just going to play something that makes us all uncomfortable together, and we can end it always on a happy note, because it was so, like, yesterday's show was so damn funny at the end. I watched the video, I bet you 25 times, Sheila in the bathtub, and just cackled the whole time. The comments were off. You guys are so funny.
They're so funny.
I mean,
yes.
Oh, just the best. Okay, let's watch Scott Moe.
Let's watch Scott Moe.
Okay.
Well, just what do you think about Western separatism, those sentiments with this election result? What do you think will happen with those sentiments in the country?
Well, you know, I'll just maybe remove the word Western. And separatist sentiments have been present in Canada for decades. In fact, we saw yet again over 20 separatist MPs elected from the province of Quebec. I think when you go into Quebec, the Separatist Party is probably leading or first or second in the polls provincially. And so, you know, having actual people run on separation platforms is not new to Canadian politics in any way. We've seen it for decades coming from the province of Quebec. What I see right now in Saskatchewan is more a feeling of alienation and more a feeling of we just want to be treated fairly in Confederation. We want to be consulted with the policies that are coming forward and that are going to impact our industries, our jobs in this province. You know, industries that are creating wealth and are, as I say, you know, producing some of the most sustainable products on earth. And so I am of the view, certainly I have not in any way given up on Saskatchewan, you know, very much being a part and a productive part of the Confederation of Canada, the nation of Canada. We're going to find out very soon whether the Prime Minister, or more importantly, the breadth of his cabinet and caucus, you know, what their views are on Saskatchewan's role moving forward, and whether they're willing to change their approach with respect to how they deal with not only the provincial government in Saskatchewan, but more broadly the people.
Okay, you go first. I have thoughts.
I was just busy looking at his huge hands. I feel like he could just grab a walnut, crush it, turn it to dust. Sorry, it was very distracting.
For those of you that haven't heard this story, Scott Moe has the biggest hands of any man I've ever seen in my life, and I'm a big fan of handing politicians babies that typically aren't mine. I'll just find a baby and then hand it to a mover and shaker like Scott Moe, and I did that one time. And his hands, you guys, are the size of toilet seats, and I am not making this up. They are dinner plates. They are bear's paws. Scott Moe has the biggest hands on any man that I've ever seen, so I don't blame you for being disappointed, Sheila. But what he said what he said was he's going to beg the federal government to check in with us and see what we want. Whereas the last 120 years of checking in with the federal government's like, meh, we don't really care. And they pass policies that intrinsically harm the people and the industry in Saskatchewan. So he said he has not given up on Saskatchewan being part of Confederation.
Fine.
But again, that is not up to Scott Moe individually to be able to declare. It is up to the people of Saskatchewan to tell Scott Moe what they want to do in this situation. And I just think that the federal government has had 10 years to consult with the people of Saskatchewan, to check in with our agricultural producers, to check in with our mining sector, to check in, with just the regular people of Saskatchewan. They have not. They have not taken that opportunity. And I have no faith that the federal government is going to, quickly pull up its bootstraps and be like, okay, well, now it's time to pay attention to what the people of Saskatchewan want. I have no confidence whatsoever that that's going to happen.
But Premier Scott Moe continues to have confidence that maybe Mark Carney, who is the man behind the curtain for so long, will somehow change course, because he called on Carney to travel to Saskatchewan for a meeting. Oh, instead of what? Going to Europe again for another victory lap? Anyways, let's listen to this.
Yeah.
And your party and your government a new mandate. And while you had very strong support in some parts of Canada, there are many Canadians, including most of us in Saskatchewan, who voted for a degree of change. And now it's up to you to show that you have heard that message and to deliver change, not only for Saskatchewan people, but for many Canadians as well. For Saskatchewan industries that help drive the Canadian economy and very much are part of the Canadian economy, to provide some degree of change for Saskatchewan people. Last night, what I heard was that the Prime Minister Carney had said that he wants to work with both Saskatchewan and Alberta. He's also said that he wants to make Canada into a global leading energy superpower. And that's great to hear, but those are nothing but words. And I would say, and I've said it many times, that policies truly do matter, in particular in this space. And so some of the government's policies, the federal government's policies, they quite simply are going to need to change in order for Canada to achieve that goal. What Prime Minister Carney had said is that we must deal with the United States of America and the Trump administration from a position of strength, and I couldn't agree more with that statement. And making Canada the world-leading energy superpower would be a pretty good start to dealing with the United States, as well as any other allied country, from a position of strength. We have some ideas on how we can jointly achieve that as a provincial government, and what policies this new administration may need to alter to some degree in order for us as Canadians to achieve that global energy superpower. So I would say that this is an opportunity for each and all of us to hit the reset button, if you will, on the federal government's relationship with the province and the people of Saskatchewan. And I hope that this offer is taken. And I would take this opportunity to invite Prime Minister Carney to a meeting here in Saskatchewan, where we'd love to host him, to chart a productive path forward for our province within the nation of Canada. I want to work alongside this federal government to build a strong and growing Saskatchewan, as I said, within a very united and strong growing nation of Canada. So I look forward to meeting with the new Prime Minister as soon as possible so that we can start working together to achieve that mutual goal that we have.
Scott Moe, your liberal is showing. Like, not sort of embarrassing, but your liberal is showing there. Like, the last thing we need is to invite Mark Carney, let him open a door to tell him that he's going to repair this relationship, or like Scott Moe said, hit the reset button on it, hit the reset button on the relationship, and we can just start fresh, and you can just make all the promises while they decimate us. We don't want to open the door to that We don't want to open the door to that. No, Scott Moe. No, let's not go down this path. And this is really interesting because Scott Moe's governing Sask party was originally a coalition between the Liberals and the Conservatives, and they teamed up to beat the NDP, and they did that in 2007. Now, every once in a while, like mainly Saskatchewan party is a Conservative party, but every once in a while, the Liberal sneaks out. It's like, boo, and everybody's like, stop doing that. Like, stop. The people of Saskatchewan are like, don't you keep that Liberal under wraps. And I think this is a really good example of this happening in public, embarrassingly. Like, I'd be real humiliated if I were him right now.
I want to cut him some slack because I'm just so enamored of his huge hands. But it's Scott Moe is talking common sense, and Mark Carney is talking World Economic Forum banker.
Yes. Yes.
When he talks about energy superpower, they are talking about two different forms of energy.
Oh,
we are talking about oil and gas.
We're talking about coal. Yep, we're talking about coal in Saskatchewan's southeast. We're talking about uranium in Saskatchewan's far north. We're talking about all of our oil and gas that was capped for decades under the destructive and gross NDP in Saskatchewan. And Mark Carney is thinking Mark Carney is thinking
solar
windmills
panels
and
on your
solar
farms.
panels. Exactly.
He's thinking infrasound inducing windmills and
Yes.
toxic solar panels in Canada's agricultural breadbasket.
Yes.
What a good
that's
use of land.
No, what Mark Carney is suggesting is that we should decimate our natural resource sector in Saskatchewan in pursuit of some crazy green net zero initiative sustainability project that would only serve to enrich his stakeholders at Brookfield. Like that is what Mark Carney wants. So no, we don't want Mark Carney in the province. We do not want to open the door to this. What we want to do is submit a list of demands to Mark Carney and his brand new federal government and tell them that they have 10 days to comply with Saskatchewan's demands, or we are going to make some power moves just like Alberta did. This is what we must tell him. And that's what I didn't hear Scott Moe say there, is you have 10 days. Mark Carney, to show us you love us, to show us that you want 120 more years with us, that you are going to honor it, that we are a cherished part of Confederation.
Yes.
And if Mark Carney does not deliver on that in 10 days flat, okay? In 10 days, I've seen what they can do in 10 days, that federal government. If they don't do that in 10 days, then listen, we need, what was it, 138,000 people to call a referendum? Yep, that would have been my message if I were Scott Moe. It's a good thing I'm not.
Your hands are far more dainty. Your hands are just so dainty compared to his. I just want to lay my little hand in the palm of his, just so you can see. It would look like a saucer versus a dinner plate.
It is incredible how big his hands are. Like, I think he has to get his gloves made custom. You know what I mean? Like, custom wheel in the truck and on the tractor. Like, it's his hands are incredibly massive, Scott Moe. So now you all know how big Scott Moe's mitts are.
Okay, let's get to some of these chats. We'll get to some of these chats. We'll hit an ad break. Then we've got, I think, one thing from Doug Ford, one thing from the separatist Blanchette, picking a fight with Alberta, which I say fine. And then we'll go into our daily dose of cringe from recidivist on our daily dose of cringe, Elizabeth May. She's a recidivist cringe criminal. News Now Canada Independent. This is Donald. Donald, I hadn't seen this. I can't confirm or fact check it, but you gave me $5. I'm going to read it. Breaking mass fire burning right now in Jerusalem, and Hamas media calling for burning of Jew kids and innocent people. This is coming from X. Well, I haven't seen that. I will take a look, but appreciate you. The Red gives us $5. I can't even explain how I feel inside about this election. Devastated is the only word I can come up with. But I would rather be a part of the U.S. than anything remotely close to England and the World Economic Forum. And I think that's up to the people of Alberta to decide.
Take heart, dear the Red. there are things that are working in the universe that may just see that come to fruition. Yeah, take heart. Don't be too demoralized. Yeah, take a day, feel awful, and tomorrow is a new one. The sun will rise in the east and set in the west, just like it always does, and we'll figure out something to do. We're resourceful.
Channel that into something good.
Yeah.
Alex Greer 279 says, "Dare to be a Danielle." The Rise of the Phoenix gives us $20. Sorry to keep you waiting. Hi, Rebels. This election isn't a Canadian loss. We have more seats. Pierre led a campaign of hope, and now we can't give up hope. Ezra did a great video explaining that. We can work together as a united Canada and hold our government accountable and move forward. You know, there are a lot of people who are reluctant separatists who want to feel that way, but who just can't anymore. That's the problem. And it's unfortunately, it's not about our fellow Canadians like you who sent us that message. Because we feel for you. You will be left behind, and you will be left without a conservative stronghold that could help you stave off the Liberals.
And never mind equalization payments. But do recall, just further to that, do recall, we elected a bunch of very hardworking, very aggressive, and committed conservatives to work on our behalf in Parliament. It's not all lost. They're not given up. And I have a feeling that the conservatives have a couple of things up their sleeve, a couple of initiatives up their sleeve, and their goose is not cooked yet. So just there are many things to look forward to, and there are people working on your behalf. So just keep that in mind.
AZ Informer gives us $20. Proud of you guys. Never forget the only way the statist regime wins is if you quit. Don't let them break you. Channel that into something. Sloopin $5. Trump will be in Kananaskis in June for the G7. Let's show him our support with lots of signs and flags. It is to my great dismay that Mark Carney will be representing Canada at the G7 in Alberta when Trump is here. I'm already embarrassed.
You know who else will be representing Canada when Trump is here? Me and Sheila Gunn-Reid. We're going to be on the ground in Kananaskis during that week. So we won't let Mark Carney steal our thunder. Trump will see a bunch of Native Canadians representing on the streets there. It'll be pretty awesome.
Another one, Free Men Die, $10. Carney plans to loot and plunder Canada. The World Economic Forum openly wants to sabotage Western nations to replace with the CCP-style system. Americans won't tolerate the CCP at our border. You must go independent. That's something to think about. This is also something to think about.
Good point. Yeah.
Also from Free Men Die, $5. If Trudeau was willing to use jackboots to squash the trucker protest, Carney will do much worse to prevent secession. You must prep for this. I don't think our American friends, with the world watching, would allow that to happen to us if Albertans decide to leave.
I mean, that's the sort of thing that we have in our back pocket, is we have the world's biggest media and military with all eyes on us if need be, and let's just hope. Listen, let's just hope that doesn't happen. But also buy some chickens. Buy some chickens and get to canning some preserves.
Make some pickles, buy some chickens. That's the thing. Like, if Albertans choose to do this in the most democratic and peaceful of ways, how could the federal government take that from us when the entire world would be watching the cessation happen? Right.
And it is written in the Clarity Act, which, thank you so much, Quebec, for trying two times and failing.
Thank you, BQPQ.
But by showing us the pathway to do this in a 100% legal and peaceful manner. Like this is within our rights to explore this as Western Canadians. And so I don't want to go hair on fire and stockpile, you know what I mean? Stockpile.
Not only that, I think the
pickles.
the Liberals will be sneakier than that. They won't be overt in their sabotage.
They would be covert in the negotiation part, because all of this would
Clandestine.
be
And I think
clandestine in the
they're
negotiation portion. Yeah.
and not even there. I think if there is a groundswell of support for a referendum, you will see, and you must be on guard for this, the Liberals planting bad actors.
I know exactly where you're going with this, without question. Without question. They're going to throw little thought grenades all over the place. They're going to try and divide and conquer, just like they always do. Well, like the Doug Ford and Conservative Party rift that we just saw unraveling in Canada. Well, that was a Liberal Party. That was a Liberal Party psyop that nobody saw coming. But these people, like the Liberal Party and the Government of Canada, can be very, very devious in their actions. We've seen the way that they use the media to lie to the people. We've seen it happen. So we just need to know that this is a distinct possibility. And as a matter of fact, it's a guaranteed. Okay, it is a guarantee that they are going to try and throw hammers into whatever happens with a referendum or succession questions in Western Canada. And we just have to be ready for it. Stay united and stay strong and stay together, just like Westerners are apt to do.
Yes. One last chat, then we'll hit an ad break, and then we'll go back into the last segment of the show.
Okay.
Janice H gives us $10. Can Alberta refuse to send the equalization payment to Quebec? Is it possible? They send the equalization to the federal government, which then
to the feds,
distributes it to. And I don't know if we can constitutionally do that.
Right now you can't. Like now you can't. And they would threaten. However, I will say that Saskatchewan decided arbitrarily last year to stop paying carbon taxes. And the federal government, Stephen Guilbeault came out and was like, we could throw you in jail for that. And Scott was I'd like to see you try. And
bring bigger handcuffs.
That's right. Cast bigger handcuffs. But what happened was absolutely nothing. So, I mean, is it technically legal that they could stop equalization payments? No. Could they, if they really wanted to? Probably. Like there's probably a way. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting thought experiment. Let's hit an ad break. We'll come right back and we'll get into the last little bit of the show, including our new segment, which we invented today, your daily dose of cringe.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me? It is time to make Canada great again. And that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA hats to introduce, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada great again.
What if governments are trying to reinvent the wheel when the greatest teacher of all times has already laid out the perfect blueprint for a constitution for a kingdom of love, faith, and freedom? Introducing the Kingdom of Heaven Freedom Passport. This special edition Freedom Passport captures the foundational truths of love, ethics, and freedom for all. It's a powerful reminder of Jesus' call to love one another and to be part of something bigger that you can carry with you every day. Join the movement, share the truth, and spread the love with your family and friends. Get your Kingdom of Heaven Freedom Passport at freedompassport.ca. And right now, all orders in North America come with free shipping and a free downloadable song with every purchase.
Why should you join Canada's National Firearms Association? We currently have one of the most aggressively anti-firearm governments in our nation's history, promoting fear and placing blame like never before. Our rights, freedoms, culture, and heritage, it's all on the line. But we are fighting back, and there is strength in numbers. We work within the law to change the law, to defend competitors, hunters, collectors, and other law-abiding firearms owners. We can get through this. We've done it before, and we'll do it again, if you are with us. Canada's National Firearms Association. Freedom, safety, responsibility.
Let's face it, Canada's economy isn't heading in the right direction. Inflation's eating away your savings, and government debt is out of control. No politician is going to fix that overnight. With Guildhall Wealth, you can hold real, physical gold and silver inside your RRSP. It's a time-tested way to protect your retirement and take back control of your wealth. Call 1-877-8-SILVER or visit guildhallwealth.com/rebel to request your free investor kit. And hey, make sure to mention Rebel News.
All right, let's go into Doug Ford and his bag of silver. He discusses why he didn't make stronger statements. He didn't make any statements. In fact, he made counter statements to Pierre Poilievre and the federal Conservatives ahead of the election. This comes after him being absolutely rolled up into a carpet and thrown into a ditch by Jamil Javani, whom I hope is the next Conservative Premier of Ontario.
Amen.
God willing. Let's hear what he has to say. Let's hear him explain himself.
You're here making a tough on crime announcement. I didn't hear much of that from the Liberal platform, but there was a lot of that in the federal Conservative platform. Why didn't you come out with Pierre Poilievre and make these kinds of statements during the campaign?
I shouldn't interfere in the federal election. Last time I checked, Pierre Poilievre never came out in our election. Matter of fact, him or one of his lieutenants told every one of his members, don't you dare go out and help the PCs. Isn't that ironic?
That's not true.
But anyways, I'm not going to dig deep into this. The people spoke, and I have no say in who people vote for. But I'll tell you one thing. We have a government, democratically elected. I will hold them accountable. I'll hold them accountable like I would, no matter if it's a Conservative government or a Liberal government. My interest is protecting the people of Ontario. And I will be all over this government. They know I will be, as I was before, about being tough on crime.
Premier, you've said before you're born with a C stamped on your forehead. You talked about having a blue sign on your lawn.
Lies.
Why is there so much bad blood between you and the federal party? And how does the federal party start to build bridges now within the Conservative movement as they look to the next 4 years?
All they have to do is make a phone call. I like a lot of the MPs, but the people spoke, and they spoke loud and clear. They spoke loud and clear in our election, and they spoke loud and clear on the federal election. And so that's democracy. They elect who they want.
Okay. The question from the journalist was a bit odd. What does the federal party have to do to build inroads with the Ontario PCs? No. It has to go the other way.
That's not the way that works.
Especially considering the turnout for the federal Conservatives in Ontario.
Versus the turnout for Doug Ford's Conservatives in his provincial election. And the question is not, what does the federal party have to do to build bridges with you, Doug? They need to throw a match on the bridge, Doug. That's what they need to do. They need to burn the bridge that they built with you, because you have shown yourself to be so disloyal and such a bad actor. Like, there is a reason Pierre Poilievre had 91 candidates on his ballot in Carleton. There's a reason why Bruce Fanjoy had more support in that riding than than anybody's ever seen in the Carleton riding. We saw Doug Ford's camp. I think Jamil Javani called them a bunch of goons, okay, interfering in every possible way in this federal election. And Doug Ford says he has a small C on his forehead while he licks the boots of the federal Liberals. We all saw it happen, Doug. We are calling you out for what you are. You are a Liberal insider. You are you you are a troublemaker, and we are ejecting you from the Conservative movement in Canada. The end.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I hope all those EV vehicle subsidies were worth it.
Oh,
Doug Ford.
It doesn't look like they're gonna be. So nobody wants to buy them. So there's that.
Yeah. Stellantis is going broke in its home country. Let's hear from one of the other premiers. Or no, sorry, it's the Bloc leader, Yves-François Blanchet.
Yep.
He says there's no future for oil and gas, at least in Quebec and probably everywhere. All right. Well, I mentioned this yesterday. They're not against fracking. They're just against having to do the work. They're perfectly fine with oil and gas money.
Yep.
If somebody else has to earn it. Anyways, let's hear from this guy. Oh, by the way, Mark Carney gave him a veto. So gave Quebec a veto over pipelines through Quebec, which is basically an end of pipelines going east.
Sheila, you mean to tell me that Quebec has been granted special privileges that the rest of us aren't party to? Oh, shush. Color me shocked. Let's watch this.
And we will have to remain the barrier not to be crossed, protecting French language and secularity of the state in Quebec, and a different model in immigration which has to be successful, and the fact that there's no future for oil and gas, at least in Quebec and probably everywhere, and this has to be said and protected.
Okay.
I have a brand new
weapon
to do that. Mr. Bonin will be extraordinary carrying that message.
Okay, well, this comment comes from X, who replied to one of Rebel News' posts just a couple minutes ago. It's from Liftoff777, and this account says, it's not up to Mr. Blanchet to decide. Quebec people have the right to a referendum to express if they are willing to have oil and gas pipeline and be a richer province by teaming with Alberta and exporting to Europe. Retweet if you share and agree, let's do it. And so now everybody's like, you can have a referendum and you can have a referendum. Yves Blanchet is arbitrarily saying, Quebec doesn't want oil and gas, and neither really does anybody else. You're completely wrong on that. And actually, Liftoff 777 has a great point. The people of Quebec should take this to a referendum. Like, what are the rules on referendums in Quebec?
Oh, there's no future for oil and gas in Quebec except for Nigerian, Venezuelan, Saudi, and Iranian oil being shipped up the St. Lawrence. Being shipped up
dirty, unethical.
With that.
Yeah, the dirty, unethical oil is more than welcome in Quebec, but not Alberta's clean, ethical oil.
Sounds to me like the Bloc just got a sweet deal to continue to help the Liberals.
I think
in the
so
House
too.
Of Commons.
I think so too, 100%. So it may take the people of Quebec taking this to a vote. Do you want to be prosperous, and do you want cheap and reliable energy? Well, if so, we just need to get it from Alberta to you guys, which is a heck of a lot easier than getting it from Saudi Arabia or Nigeria or any one of those nations that you just mentioned, Sheila Gunn-Reid.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the daily cringe?
Ooh, okay,
get loose, because your muscles are going to get real tight.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a sore neck from yesterday from my cringe watching Mark Carney convulse. It was like, what did I tell you last night on the phone? It was like somebody spilled a glass of water into a Roomba robot. It was just like Mark Carney dancing with his wife.
It was just the funniest.
Not to be outdone by anybody. Here comes Elizabeth May. The lone Green Party, leader of the Green Party cult. Her co-leader lost his seat, obviously. Her and her husband, well, I'm shocked she's married. they broke out into song yesterday. Was this during a press conference? I haven't seen this yet. I'm already just prickly with cringe. Let's all watch this together. I'm coming in cold, okay?
Prepare yourselves. Prepare yourselves.
About the election, but I'm just going to wait till it's my turn. And we're the warm-up act because you've got real musicians and real talent coming up soon. So we figured, it's my party, so I can sing if I want to. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. And you hear that pitter-pat, and that happy tune is your step. Life will be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade. About the election, but I'm just going to...
What in the sweet CBC gem is that? What was that?
Well, I think this is what we are seeing here is the mating ritual for people that vote for the Green Party. Darling, go get your acoustic guitar and put on your hippiest shirt and do let us sing a duet. This is,
Look at, not just a duet, they're dancing. This is missing a tambourine. As I call them at church, invasive percussive instruments at mass. This is missing a tambourine. Look at her eyes. They're like pinwheels. They're like going in different directions.
It's right. One pointing this way, one pointing this way. Oh, isn't it just, this is just glorious. Listen, say what you will about Elizabeth May. I am forever delighted by her antics. I mean, this just goes to show you the crazy lows that the crazy lefties will go to and think that this is completely normal. Like this is a completely normal thing. Oh my. And then she has the lyrics on a sheet.
They prepared this. This is not spontaneous.
No, they practice. This is foreplay in the May House right here is what we're witnessing. God. It is just hilarious. Can we just listen to it one more time, Olivia?
Look at her eyes. I can't get over her eyes. One more time.
Yeah, one more time. Just one more time for the people.
Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. And you hear that pitter-pat, and that happy tune is your step. Life will be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade. About the election, but I'm just...
I can't. This is like...
God.
Remember Sharon, Lois, and Bram? I'm old enough to remember Sharon, Lois, and Bram. The Elephant Show? This is that on lithium and Fireball. Look at this.
This is that on homemade wine. This is that on homemade wine. P.S.
This is rhubarb wine and antidepressants for sure.
Sharon, Lois, and Bram was my very first concert in life, Sheila Gunn Reid. And let me just say, they blow the May family out of the water. But my goodness, like how embarrassing. Again, you are welcome, Canada. This is the very first, the inaugural episode of the Daily Cringe brought to you by our friend, Elizabeth May.
Oh, as I said, she is a recidivist and she'll be back. That's not the last we've seen of Canada's wine aunt and her antics.
Exactly that. Hey guys, if you see something cringy that just makes
send
you
it to us.
You need to send it to us. Yeah, we're gonna do this every day. Okay, the Daily Cringe. We're just all gonna giggle together because this world is pretty heavy right now. There's a lot of pressing things going on, and it's just good to watch some bizarre stuff and then cackle together.
Oh God, yeah. Rhubarb wine and antidepressants brings us Elizabeth May. We've got Abubin gives us $20. Good morning, Divas of News. Oh, that's nice. However we separate from the East, just remember this name, King Abuben. Just throwing that out there. Okay. Keep it up, ladies. You're doing an awesome job. Well, thank you so much. Temporary broken. WCB refuses to allow me to appeal their decision to get to a medical review panel. I can only assume it's because I have 2 orthopedic surgeons, neurosurgeon, chronic pain specialist, all agree on my injury claim. I know that you were to send me an email, and perhaps you did, and I will go back and look. I'm very sorry.
Yeah. I remember this commenter before, and yeah, do send us a note. Yeah, do send us a note. If you have a juicy story, Canada, you know where to send it. Like, you know who's always invested in your juicy stories. It's us here at Rebel News. Yeah. That goes without saying, but here's a reminder.
AZ and former $10. Mr. Ford, what does it benefit you, my brother, to gain the world and lose your soul? I don't think he's going to gain the world, though.
I think he'll lose his soul, go down in history as one of the great political traitors of our time.
Yeah. Before we sign off, we've got a quick clip here, Trump about Carney. So let's watch this.
President, as Prime Minister of Canada ran against, not only against the Conservatives, but also against you. Yesterday, yesterday he spoke about American betrayal. Are you interested in rebuilding relations with Canada, and if so, how?
No, well, I think we're going to have a great relationship. He called me up yesterday. He said, "Let's make a deal." You know, he was running for office. They both hated Trump, and it was the one that hated Trump, I think, the least that won. I actually think the conservative hated me much more than the
not true
than the so-called liberal. He's a pretty liberal guy. But no, I spoke to him yesterday. Couldn't have been nicer, and I congratulated him. You know, it was a very mixed signal because it's almost even, which makes it very complicated for the country. It's a pretty tight race, but he's a very nice gentleman, and he's going to come to the White House very shortly
and give you everything you want.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's gonna, he campaigned on a campaign of fear and loathing of the United States, and I do think Trump is wrong there. I think that without question. But this does open the door to have a quick conversation about how the Conservatives crap the bed as it pertains to the messaging that Pierre Poilievre took, because
it's indistinguishable. It was indistinguishable from the
between
Carney
the Conservatives and Liberals, and if Pierre Poilievre would have taken a conciliatory, approach, similar to the one that Danielle Smith did, I do feel like it could have made a big difference in the campaign. And they did not, and well, that's a lesson that they learned the hard way.
It could have, like I said 100 times on the show, it could have been, we're against these tariffs. These tariffs are a betrayal of our ongoing trade and cultural relationship with the Americans. But these tariffs are because the Liberals destroyed our relationship with the Americans, and they cannot be trusted to rebuild it. Bickety bam, that's it.
Yep.
But they didn't do that.
No, they did not do that. They were decidedly very nervous to say hard things, the Conservatives. And so coming up, because I think that we are all sort of agreeing that we're going to have an election sooner rather than later. This is not going to be a 4-year term for the Liberals. The Conservatives have got to find their balls and find them fast.
Okay, we need to wrap up the show because we've been going for an hour and a half, and I know Olivia's got things to do. But we have to close the show on an even funnier note than our daily cringe. Abu Ben gives us another $20 and says, after watching May's eyes look both ways at the same time, if politics doesn't work out for her, I could hire her for finding parking spots at the mall.
Yep. Yep, you sure could.
They're just like and out. I've never seen anything like it. She's got, and I'm not trying to be mean, she does have a horse face in that her eyes are to the outside, look in different directions.
But think about the outfit she was wearing, like the green outfit she was wearing, and then the eyes that move independently. She's a chameleon. That's exactly where I was going. You go, pull her by the tail and it falls off in your hand. That's Elizabeth May for you. And you are so welcome for that, Canada. Thanks for not making us live with that image by ourselves. It's good to have. It's good to share the cringe amongst
that was
the
something
group.
else.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, everybody watching, everybody working behind the board, thanks so much for coming along.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Okay, hang tight. Olivia tells me stop wrapping up the show because I've got something to read. Time's ticking, $100. Thanks, ladies, for the chuckles. Here's for the daily cringe. Okay, we're keeping the daily cringe. Thank you.
It's just the best.
It's a win.
Thank you so much, buddy. It's just incredible. Oh,
and if you
I
guys,
bet that's.
we'll do our best to aggregate a daily cringe for you. But if you find one that I haven't seen, and it might be hard because I am from the internet and so is Lise, do send it to us on our X accounts.
Yeah,
Wild.
please
Thank
do.
you so much.
That's the best.
And even before we go, one more thing. I know I'm trying to sign off, but you guys are keeping me. Jamil Giovanni continues to just absolutely leave Doug Ford on roast mode. Look at this tweet from Jamil Giovanni.
Oh, well, there's nothing wrong with that, is that? It's sort of accurate. Yes. Just has him on blast, throwing hammers. Like, Jamil Giovanni is genuinely upset about what Doug Ford did in this election, as should every single conservative in the country, but especially Ontario. Ontario, this guy sold you down the river to the Liberal Party of Canada. And the reason why the Liberal Party of Canada is still the government is because of the actions of this guy. Well done, Jamil Giovanni. We like your fighting spirit. Keep it up, bud.
I'm going to give some free advice to the people of the world. Don't pick fights with people who are smarter than you, because you'll end up like Doug Ford right now, just an absolute laughing stock. Okay, now I'm going to wrap up the show unless anybody else has more donations to the new segment of the show, the Daily Cringe. But everybody at home, everybody who pitched in, and everybody who works behind the scenes at Rebel News, thank you so much for making this show absolutely the most fun, best part of my day here at Rebel News. I appreciate you so much. And you too, Lisa.
Yeah. Well, and you too, Sheila Gunn-Reid, and thanks so much to our viewers who make this such a pleasure every week. And I will see you guys next Tuesday. So don't let anything real interesting or cringy happen while I'm gone. Okay, save it up. Save it up for when I'm back.
Yeah. Behave till she's back. Be boring till she's back.
Yeah,
I, on the other hand, I'm here tomorrow and again on Friday. Thanks again, everybody. And as my friend David Menzies always says, stay safe and stay sane.